Well, hello world. I am in the Beeyard. It is March 11th or 12th, Farmer Steve? March 11th, and my original plan was to come and check the Beeyard out tomorrow because I heard on Friday the temperature was going to be about 50 or maybe a little bit below, and I thought that's perfect. And then when we saw the temperatures rise into 60, I drove like a mad woman to get up here so I could see the bees. So what's interesting here in the Beeyard is some of the hives have bees around them and some of them do not. And with the temperatures this warm, I really would have been happier to have more bees flying around. Queen Catherine, that colony is buzzing like crazy. So I'm gonna put my suit up, and what I did was I brought out some pollen patties, because if the bees are flying around like this, they are using energy, they are going to get hungry, and there's obviously no flowers around yet. Even the early ones are not ready to come yet. If you look, there's still a lot of snow around. Usually the first blossoms to come are the maple trees, and they are not ready yet. Wow, the bees have noticed me. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the hives farthest away from Queen Catherine because they're busy and I don't want to agitate them. I'm gonna come over here to these ladies who are not looking very active at all. It's always so hard when you come to the springtime. Now, it's supposed to be warm today and warm tomorrow, and then the temperatures are going to drop again because that's what happens when you're in the mountains. So I am not going to unwrap any of the bees, and I'm only going to look quickly inside because there still might be brood in there. There's still, I don't know if the queens have started laying. They still might be clustered, and I don't want to chill the bees, although today is a great day to open them up. All right, I'm gonna go and get I don't think I'm gonna need any food for these. All right, let me take a look at these hives. So, just like I did when I checked them before. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of dead bees. Okay, the first thing that I'm gonna do is check the bottom and see what's going on. And what's going on here in Victoria is a lot of dead bees. Now, there's nothing wrong with dead bees. The last time we were out here, remember the pattern was if there were dead bees outside of the hive, there were live bees on the inside of the hive. But I don't know if that's true. I know that last time I was here with Queen Victoria, there were a heck of a lot of dead bees. And I was all ready to be sad about her being dead, and I went to go feed the bees, and a few bees came up. So I was a little bit more hopeful. So I'm gonna remain hopeful as I uncover her, and we'll see what we see. But this is a good day to check on the bees. What I'm hoping to find is that the bees are up here on the top and they are eating the food. Yeah, and so here's what I know. Okay. Here's what I know about Victoria. I put these pollen patties in, and it looks to me like nobody has touched them. And so I think the deal with this hive is that too many bees died off for whatever reason, and there weren't enough bees in the cluster to keep everybody warm. Nobody ate any of this food because there was nobody here to eat the food at all. Now, 2 weeks before I opened this hive, the bees were pouring out. So something happened between a month ago and now, and what that something is, I don't really know. Until I take the hive apart and really look, I can't tell. One interesting thing that I learned when you say that the bees starved, even though there was food in the hive, the reason why they say that, they starve in place. That's a new phrase that I just learned this week, believe it or not, and it means that the cluster couldn't get to the food because it was too small to move itself up or over to get the food. So if there were any bees in here, they were probably clustered somewhere in the middle, and it was just too cold for them to come up, and there weren't enough bees. So I don't think there's anybody in here, but I'm just going to close it up. Leave them be. I don't hear a single buzz. I don't see, usually somebody would fly out to see me. I don't see anything. I'm going to put the mouse guard back on. Okay. So sad. So sad. Okay, so I was hoping Victoria was going to make it, but I don't think she did. I'll leave it as is. Okay. I also saw a little bit of life right here in these two hives. I'll check, but you know, look, it's 65 degrees out here right now, and all the other hives that have live bees, the bees are out flying around. Nobody's moving around here, so that is generally an indication that the reason why nobody's moving is because nobody's home. So let's see what we can find. Once again, yeah. So here you can see, I'll see if I can get close. Here you can see that the bees all came up to eat, but they died up here. So, you know, why is that? I don't really know, to be honest with you. But they did make it up. They did make it up to the top, but, you know, you also have to remember that I thought this was a weak hive, and it was single digits around here 2 weeks ago. So, you know, it's just quite possible that there weren't enough bees to keep themselves warm. Now, there's a lot of dead bees here in the bottom. And you know, this is when you have to start solving the mystery. When I'm looking at the bees, what am I noticing? Is there sign of mites? Are the bees wet? Is something chewed off? Is something eating them? I don't see. All I see is a lot of dead bees. And the thing is that the last time I checked, there weren't a lot of dead bees in this hive. So, this was the hive that I thought was possible that it was going to be alive, Queen Latifah. But now that I'm looking here, I'm going to say no, that this hive failed. So, things are not pretty. All right, so Victoria is gone, Latifah is gone. If there were any bees in here, they would be coming out to see what I'm doing because it's warm enough to be out of the cluster. So they are. Nope. So yeah, my gut feeling is that none of these 4 hives has survived the winter. And I'm really going to be left with 2 out of 8 hives. So we chalk it up to something else. What we need to do is figure out what didn't we do and make sure we do it. I feel like what I didn't do was prepare the bees or check to see what the population was like for the bees when we got them ready in the fall. And I also think that we didn't check carefully enough. I think what happened was we looked at them and said, oh, look at all those bees. But we didn't look inside to see how many bees there were inside. We just saw the bees flying around and thought, yeah, they're populated. So I would say that one thing that we're going to have to rectify is when we start getting ready for the winter, which is going to be sooner this year, and you know, do a better check on what the population looks like. So then we have to figure out, well, what do you do if the hive isn't populated? Because you know, if the cluster is not going to be big enough. So I know one thing that you can do is change the size of the hive body that you're in. So, you know, this is a two deep hive body. So maybe what we need to do is put the hives that aren't doing really well in a smaller hive body. And so that might help them stay warm. And of course, we all also know that we're putting the mouse guards on earlier too, because since I found all those nests in these hives, I've done a lot of reading about the mice, and initially I thought that the mice don't really kill the bees, but I've learned since that if the bees are in the cluster, the mice will. Oh, now I see people. Hi, Matt. So anyway, I'm pretty sure these all 4 are done with. And remember these 2 I took nests out of, mouse nests, closed them back up. So I know Isabella is gone. I don't know about, I think this is Maud. Yeah, this is Maud. All right, so I'm gonna look at Maud. And this one also, there's bees in the top, which means they made it up, but I don't think there's any bees in here at all. No one has eaten this at all. So Maud was another one that I was hoping there was a cluster in there. I'm gonna leave it sealed up because maybe there is one, but I really don't think so. Okay, let's look here at the mouse guard. So there were some bees in here, and here's how I know, because when I was here last time, I cleaned out the bottom of all the bees, and the fact that there's still some in here means there were some alive that have since died. Okay, so what does it really mean? Well, it means I'm giving away a lot less honey. It means that anything I have right now, we already know Isabella is dead and gone because of last time. And you remember Isabella is where there were mice. So just for fun, I'm going to pop it open and see if the mice found their way back in, because I closed it all up. Oh, yes. Holy cow. So yeah, the mice did not get into the hive, but check it out. They got here and were chewing all of our styrofoam. So I'm curious how they got under the cover. Wow. Woo. Look at that. They chewed and chewed and chewed. Okay, so the mice didn't leave the neighborhood, but it seems they could not get into the hive. So that's a good thing, I guess. Yeah, there's no... I kept them out of the beehive itself, but here's the thing. I'm still going to have to clean out and replace all of the insides of this hive because it smells like mouse to the bees. And you have to remember that the bees do so much according to smell. And even though I can't smell what the mice smell like, the bees absolutely do. So that's that. All right, so these 4 hives dead and gone. Bummer, 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 bummer. Okay, now we're going to go to the busy ones. Oh, that's a lot of dead bees. Okay. A day like today in the mountains, if it's in the 60s and the bees aren't flying, it pretty much means the hive is gone because they're going to come out of the cluster. So here, oh, good old, thank you, Catherine. Catherine is strong. Bess we knew was gone. Beatrix and an Eleanor we knew were gone. I cleaned out of Sheba last time. And over here is Margaret. So right now we've got Queen Margaret's colony and Queen Catherine's colony, and that's it. So what does that mean? It means that later on in the spring, we're going to take those 2 colonies and we're going to split them. And a split means we're going to take the day-old eggs and a whole bunch of nurse bees, and we're going to put them in a new hive body. And then what's going to happen is the bees are going to recognize that they do not have a queen, and the bees will then begin to feed the larvae, and they will raise their own queens. And then hopefully we'll have a hive from that, a colony from that. Now, we could also, if we wanted to, buy a queen, do the same kind of split, take advantage of the fact that the bees know they don't have a queen, and then give them a queen. So the thing about doing it that way means you don't have to wait the 16 days for the queen to develop, and you don't have to wait for the queen to be ready to mate. So more than likely, we are probably going to wind up buying some queens to help populate these splits that we're going to do, because otherwise it's going to just take too long to build the hives up. And so the split is like a human's version of a swarm, keeping in charge of the population. All right, so we're going to come over here to Queen Margaret's colony and see what she's up to. I'm assuming with all of this activity that these ladies are going to want some food, so I'm going to just make sure they get some. The food is in the truck. I'm not going to take the food from the other hives because I don't know really why those other hives didn't make it. I'm assuming it's because they weren't strong enough and they weren't populated enough. But what if it was some sort of disease? And I haven't figured that out yet. So I don't want to give them anything. So I'm going to go and get the food. I'm going to leave the thing running right now. Okay, I am back. You hear Farmer Steve cutting down trees out there? Okay. So clearly we know that this hive is healthy. Hi ladies. And I want to be as quick as I can. I don't need to, oh, and the fuel truck is here, all sorts of things happening. I don't need to open this up to check if they're alive. I know they're alive. What I want to do is I want to make sure they have enough food, because there's no nectar or pollen anything. And I know you might be thinking, well, what is she feeding them? I am feeding them a mixture of sugar and plant proteins, because that's what they need. So I'm going to do it as quick as I can. Okay, ladies, I've got some good snacks for you. Getting the bees upset is that, as I said before, they know, and so if some of the bees say guard, 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 and they spread that smelly message, then everyone gets annoyed, even the ones that are not in this hive. So right now I'm very quickly gonna clean out this part, because there are some dead bees in the bottom, and I want the the air circulation to be better. So I am putting the mouse guard on right now, because this is when the mice are looking for a place to have their babies. And if you recall, I kicked all the mice out. Okay. All right, there you go, ladies. Enjoy your meal. All right, now we're gonna head over to Queen Catherine, who, honestly, this hive has been strong all along. I am going to try to be as quick as I can. Oh, so here's an interesting thing to show you. So all the other times times when I've been showing you what I've taken out of the bottom of the hive. So here is all wax. And what that means is that the bees have been uncapping the honey that we left for them. So that's a cool thing. They've been eating it. It means that these bees obviously had a big enough cluster. All right, ladies. They had a big enough cluster to be able to reach the food and stay warm. I can also see here that a mouse was trying to get in here, so I'm going to put this other mouse guard in front so that the bees, let's see, the bees can get in and out, but the mice can't. Okay. And once again, this is going to be quick. I already know this hive is healthy. I don't need to spend a lot of time here. I just want to give them food so that they can make it until the nectar starts to come. Food is sticky, messy. Okay, here it is. So I'm just going to lift this up. There's a lot of bees in here. All right, let's see. I'll try to get closer. All right, so I'm going to want to do this as quickly as possible. All right, there is food in here from the last time. Look at all those bees. Hi, my friends. Hello, ladies. Okay. Ay, 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 ay. All right. Okay. I feel ya. All right. Okay, so here we've got only 2 hives out of 8 have survived the winter. I am leaving all the other ones closed up. It's highly unlikely there's anything left in those hives. But it's a beautiful day here in the Catskills. It's about 64 degrees in the Beeyard, so the bees are out, they're flying, I fed them, and now I just have to make sure that I keep feeding them until things start to bloom. I left them wrapped because it's still going to be cold. I'm signing out. I don't know if you can hear the bees buzzing and trying to sting my phone, but they are. So that's all for today. I'll talk to you guys soon. Be good. Bye. Okay, and we all know, of course, once I say goodbye, I have to go to a place where I can take my glove off so I can turn the phone off. And that place is not in the Beeyard. Fly away, ladies. Yeah, they're following me out of the Beeyard.